Chapter 6 Breakfast with a Crocodile. How to describe it? Not a nightmare. It was much more real and frightening. As I slept, I felt myself go weightless. I drifted up, turned, and saw my own sleeping form below. I'm dying, I thought. But that wasn't it either. I wasn't a ghost. I had a new shimmering golden form with wings instead of arms. I was some kind of bird. No, Sadie, not a chicken. Will you let me tell the story, please? Anyways, I knew I wasn't dreaming because I don't dream in color. I certainly don't dream in all five senses. The room smelled faintly of jasmine. I could hear the carbonation bubbles pinging in the can of ginger ale that I opened on my nightstand. I could feel a cold wind ruffling through my feathers, and I realized that the windows were open. I didn't want to leave, but a strong current pulled me out of the room like a leaf in a storm. The lights off the mansion faded below me. The skyline of New York blurred and disappeared. I shot through the mist and darkness, strange voices whispering all around me. My stomach tingled as it had earlier that night on Amos's barge. Then the mist cleared, and I was in a different place. I floated above a barren mountain. Far below, the grid of city lights stretched across the valley floor. Definitely not New York. It was nighttime, but I could tell that I was in the desert. The wind was so dry, the skin on my face felt like paper. And I know it doesn't make any sense, but my face felt like my normal face, as if that part of me hadn't transformed into a bird. Fine, Sadie, call me Carter Chicken-Headed Chicken. Whatever, happy? Below me on a ridge stood two figures. They didn't seem to notice me, and I realized I wasn't glowing anymore. In fact, I was pretty much invisible, floating in the darkness. I couldn't make out the two figures, except to recognize that they were not human. Staring harder, I could see that one was short, squat, and hairless, with slimy skin that glistened in the starlight, like an amphibian standing on its hind legs. The other was tall and scarecrow skinny with rooster claws instead of feet. I couldn't see his face very well, but it looked red and moist. Well, let's just say that I was glad I couldn't see better. Where is he? The toady-looking one croaked nervously. Hasn't taken a permanent host yet, the rooster-footed guy chided. He can only appear for a short time. You're sure this is the place? Yes, fool, he'll be here soon. A fiery form appeared on the ridge. The two creatures fell to the ground, groveling in the dirt, and I prayed like crazy that I really was invisible. My lord, the toad said. Even in the dark, the newcomer was hard to see. Just the silhouette of a man outlined in flames. What do they call this place? The man asked, and as soon as he spoke, I knew for sure he was the guy who had attacked my dad at the British Museum. All the fear that I'd felt at the museum came rushing back, paralyzing me. I remembered trying to pick up that stupid rock to throw, but I hadn't been able to even do that. I'd completely failed my dad. My lord, Roosterfoot said, the mountain is called Camelback. The city is called Phoenix. The fiery man laughed, a booming sound like thunder. Phoenix, how appropriate. In the desert so much like home. All it needs now is to be scoured of life. The desert should be a sterile place, don't you think? Yes, my lord, the toady agreed. But what of the other four? One is already entombed, the fiery man said. The second is weak. She will be easily manipulated. That leaves only two, and they will be dealt with soon enough. How? The toady asked. The fiery man glowed brighter. You are an inquisitive little tadpole, aren't you? He pointed at the toad, and the poor creature's skin began to steam. No, Toady begged. No! I could hardly watch. I don't want to describe it, but you've heard what happens when cruel kids pour salt on snails. You have a pretty good idea what happened to Toady. Soon, there was nothing left. Roosterfoot took a nervous step back. I couldn't blame him. We will build my temple here, the fiery man said, as if nothing had happened. This mountain shall serve as my palace of worship. When it's complete, I will summon the greatest storm ever known, and it will cleanse everything. Everything.